If you are thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience living with it, setting it up, and using it day to day in a normal home. At its core, this is a slim console table with a glass top, a lower shelf, and a metal frame. It is the kind of piece that makes sense if you want a landing spot in an entryway, a narrow surface behind a couch, or a place to put a few things in a hallway without taking up much space. I've been using it in my hallway near the front door, and that is where it either works really well or gets annoying, depending on how you use your entryway. What makes it a little different from a lot of basic console tables is the tempered glass top paired with that open metal frame. The glass changes how the table feels in the room. It does not visually block the space the way a solid top can, so my hallway still feels open. The trade-off is that glass shows smudges and dust faster than wood does, so you are signing up to wipe it down more often, especially if you touch it every day like I do. Let me talk about how it arrived and what setup was like. I always assume furniture assembly will be a little annoying, even when it looks simple. In this case, it was mostly straightforward. The parts were clearly separated, and the instructions were easy to follow without me having to stop and reread the same step 10 times. Everything I needed to assemble it was in the box, and I did not have to go hunting for extra tools. I put it together on the floor in my living room, then carried it into the hallway once it was standing. One thing I will mention, because it is a real-life detail, is that I recommend tightening everything gradually as you build. If you fully tighten one side too early, it can make the frame feel slightly out of alignment until the rest of the pieces are in. Once everything is connected, then you go back and snug it all down. It ends up feeling solid. I did it mostly by feel, not by over-cranking, because with furniture like this, forcing it can cause little alignment issues. After it was assembled, the first thing I noticed was the look of the glass top. It has that clean, modern feel, and it makes whatever you put on it look intentional, even if it is just keys and mail. For my setup, I keep a small tray for keys and wallet, a small bowl for change, and one framed photo. It ends up being the place where I empty my pockets when I walk in, and I like that it does not feel bulky. The lower shelf is what makes it practical. I originally thought I would not use it much, but I ended up using it constantly. I keep a couple of baskets down there for things that usually end up on the floor, like dog leash and small packages I have not opened yet. It keeps the top surface from turning into a pile. If you are using it in a living room, that lower shelf is also a good place for books or a couple of larger decor pieces that you do not want on the top. Build quality feels like what I would expect from a metal frame and glass top table in this category. The metal frame feels sturdy once everything is tightened properly. It does not wobble when I set things down normally. If I push it from the side, it will move, but that is not really a flaw. It is just a lighter console table. It is not an anchored piece of furniture. In my hallway, it stays where it should, even with people walking past it all day. The tempered glass top feels smooth and stable. I have set down heavier items like a bag, a stack of mail, and a couple of books without any issues. I still treat it like glass because it is glass. I do not drop things onto it, and I do not drag rough objects across it. In daily use, it has been fine. Here is one of the most realistic downsides. The glass shows fingerprints easily. If you have kids touching everything, or if you tend to set down your hands on the edge when you walk by, you will see that. I wipe it with a microfiber cloth every few days, and that keeps it looking clean. Dust is also more visible on glass, especially if light hits it from the side. Another practical note is sound. Glass can make a sharper sound when you set something down quickly, like keys or a metal water bottle. I solved that by using a tray and a small soft pad under a couple of items. If you like the clean look but do not like that tapping sound, plan to use a tray. In terms of daily use, it has made my entryway more organized, mostly because it gave me a specific place to put things. Before this table, I would set stuff on a random chair or the kitchen counter. Now my keys are always on the table, my mail goes to one spot, and my hallway looks less messy. It is not magical, it just gives you a designated surface, and that helps with habits. I also tested it in a couple of other spots just to see if it would make more sense elsewhere. Behind the couch, It looked good and felt stable, but I personally liked it more in the hallway because the slim shape fit that space better. In a bedroom, it could work as a simple display table, but I would not use it as a desk or a vanity because the glass top is not the most comfortable surface for writing, and it will show every mark. Now I need to address something from a typical review script template: smart features and a mobile app. This table does not have that. There are no electronics here, no setup through your phone, and nothing to update. What you see is what you get, and honestly, I appreciate that sometimes. How does it hold up in real conditions? In my home, it has dealt with daily foot traffic, a dog brushing past it, and me tossing my bag on it when I come in. It has stayed stable, and it still looks the same as when I built it. The main maintenance is just cleaning the glass and occasionally checking that the screws stay snug. I checked them again after about a week of use, and they were still fine. If you are trying to decide if it fits your space, the biggest question is whether you actually want glass. If you want something that hides dust and fingerprints, you might prefer a wood top. If you like an open look and you do not mind wiping it down, the glass top is nice. The second question is how you plan to use the shelf. If you need hidden storage, this is not that. It is open, so whatever you store there is visible unless you use baskets. Overall, my impression is that it is a straightforward console table that looks clean, fits narrow spaces well, and is easy enough to assemble without turning into an all-day project. It has been useful in my hallway, and it has kept my everyday items from spreading across the house. The main things I would flag are the fingerprints on the glass, and the fact that it is not meant to be leaned on like a heavy wood table. If you have any questions about using it in a specific room, or what I keep on it day to day, leave a comment and I will tell you what worked for me. And if this video helped, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with what you want me to review next. Thank you for watching.